All right, political temperatures are heating up. On one end, goofs from both camps, that is reviving debates on cohesion, steering the conversation away from hateful speech. On the other hand, the open season for movement of politicians might have just been opened with Kirinyaga Governor Anne Waiguru officially decamping to Deputy President William Ruto's UDA party. Are there more defections to come? With all due respect, we'll be talking politics tonight, squaring the circles of all that pertains to politics. My guest tonight, Rigathi Gachagua, Madira MP, Professor Malala, Senator Kakamega, and Amisi, MP Saboti. Karibu sana to the program, gentlemen. With all due respect, we say as it is in this program, so say your piece. You can get fired later. But let's start with you. Good day for you. I suppose, from your UDA perspective, you have a big one. Anne Waiguru finally decamping Jubilee. It's an open secret, but it's a good day for you.
Well, it was just a question of time. Anne Waiguru got instructions from her people almost 4 months ago to move to UDA. And in fact, she has had a very rough time for the last 2 years because the position she had taken was contrary to the wishes of the people of Kirinyaga and indeed the entire mountain. And as days goes by, we are in the season of the politics on the ground. There will be a lot of shifting. And any clever politician, any politician worth his or her salt, any politician who intends to continue holding a public office must listen to the ground. And if you don't listen to the ground, then you are done. So what Anne Waiguru has done is listen to her ground. And I want to really commend her because she's very bold and courageous. It's not easy to move to UDA from the mountain region. It's not an easy thing. Those of us in UDA and who are very vocal have had a lot of problems, a lot of persecution, a lot of threats. A lot
so you suggest she's going to get into trouble?
Oh, yeah, definitely. I told her this morning when we received her.
Yeah.
I prepared her. And the criminal justice system will be onto her. She'll undergo a lot of threats. She may be denied security and all that. It's what ourselves we have undergone. So we took her through the motions of being in UDA and what it takes so that she is well prepared. Yeah. Luckily, she was also prepared. And she came with 23 members of the county assembly. You know, she didn't come alone. And she is going to organize a reception on the ground so that she carries her people along. And those are the politics on the ground. And she's not alone. There are many other governors who have been talking to us at night. And the season for them to talk to us during the day is here. Because the people are demanding. You know, now you can't go and tell the people that you are talking to us at night. They want to see you in our meetings, you know. And they are demanding, by the way, the pressure on the ground on governors, members of parliament, senators in the mountain region to move to UDA is momentous. And I don't think they are able to sustain it for too long. So they'll have to make a decision, and that is what Anne Waiguru has done. And she has opened the door to others who have been sold fear, to others who are hesitant to take the cue. A decision a governor or a member of parliament will have to make is simple. You decide that you fear to be harassed for a week or 2 weeks and suffer some little discomfort for a month as compared to being sent home for 5 years. It's a decision one has to make. Okay. You know, and that is what is happening. It's called the politics of the ground. Yes. An election year, we have 9 months to go. It's all local politics, politics of the ground. The ground will determine these movements. And you will see a lot of movements between now and December. You know, today we had like 4 members of parliament from Mountain Kenya region who had come to the deputy president's office trying to secure a date when they can be received from Jubilee. So that will go on. Things are happening. Yeah, that obviously will go on.
NC had tried to woo Anne Waiguru, if I'm not wrong. First, how do you read this? Is it a big win? Obviously, you can see Rigathi is, you know, boisterous and arrogant in many ways, as he should. How do you read this?
Smart. First of all, the conversation between Anne Waiguru and our party leader was basically a conversation between two people. it was not a conversation between ANC party and one Anne Waiguru. And therefore, whatever they conversed, I think it remained to be limited in between the two of them, and therefore it's not a party position. And of course, we are alive of the fact that this is a transfer window, just like in football. Transfer windows, you can transfer in, so long as the window is still open, you can still transfer to Manchester and transfer back to Liverpool, so long as the window is still open.
Yes.
So don't be surprised, depending with the political wave in the coming future, don't be surprised. Anne Waiguru might again transfer
back to
because it's all about political survival. And I think as young leaders, we need to now come to a realization and also strengthen the democracy that we've fought for a very long epoch. These transfers must be occasioned by principles and not just political waves. Let us not be survivors. We should...
Are you suggesting that there's no principle in what Anne Waiguru is doing? As Rigathi says, there was ground movement, and she says she's listening to the ground.
Exactly, exactly. You shouldn't listen to... You should move to a particular political affiliation or political vehicle because of the principles of what you believe in.
Okay.
And not necessarily what people on the ground. You know, I would rather not be elected, but I believe in certain ideologies. And therefore, I would want us young leaders to have a paradigm shift in terms of doing our politics. We need to bring a new Kenya when it comes to doing our politics. Let us not go to UDA or ANC because there is a certain wave or there is a certain political dynamic that is favoring you at the moment. Let us have political parties which are built on the foundation of political ideologies. Okay. Just like in the United States, we have the Republicans and the Democrats. You don't see these swaying of politicians in the United States because they have built their democracies on the basis of the principles and the agenda the political parties are selling. I
want to push you back a bit, but I'll come back on your particular point on this being swayed. But let me have Caleb. How do you read this from your own camp? A loss for you, given that the former Prime Minister, ODM leader, party leader Raila Odinga had spent quite a bit of time, wooing Kirinyaga Governor Waiguru. Is it a loss?
I think it is a loss to ourselves, not to anybody else, because the biggest mistake you can make as a politician is to act on panic and emotions, and that's what exactly she's doing. If you don't stand on principle, like my colleagues have said, then you are bound to react on every political moment that comes. And if you are to say, the way my friend Rigathi is saying that the ground is hostile, I mean, he joined Jubilee because he was given a lead by the president. That's why he was a member of Jubilee. The president worked hard for that ground. Now he's jumping to their side, basically because they've been working so hard on that ground. So when you see the ground is hostile, somebody has been working on it. So it is up to you to work on the ground instead of depending on somebody else to work on it. Once it becomes hostile, then you jump. Why not create your own ground? That's why you are a leader. Those leaders who have created those grounds, they have stand on some principles that have been there for some time. And if you jump into their ship, if the ground changes, basically you'll see the same person shifting. So there is nothing to worry about Anne Waiguru. There is actually nothing. Basically, a person who is jumping from one ship to another, you leave her die her own death, politically. Yeah.
I want to first start to deal with the Mount Kenya problem and the question in this as we move to the next question. The centrality of what has happened, and Anna said herself, and you're saying yourself, and we keep hearing this, that the ground is hostile, or the ground, is not acceptable to someone who's not, say, quote unquote, UDA aligned. But what's the evidence we have on this, other than what you say in political rallies?
Well, her movement tells it all. She had taken a very serious position that this is a Mandela movement. We need to back the former Prime Minister. We need to work with ODM. And then she has made a shift. I don't think Anne Waiguru is somebody who just shift like that. She has had very extensive consultation with the ground. And that tells you that that is the way the ground is. And if you look at the by-elections that have taken place in that region, Jubilee has lost 6 of them. And they are not in one region. One was in Nakuru, another one was in Naivasha, another one was in Nyandarua, another one was in Juja, another one was in Kiambaa. That tells you what is happening. I agree with them that you need to start with your own principles. And principles are good. But what happens is that if you're on the verge of losing a job and you have no other, you see how to keep that job. And one of the way is to listen to what your employer is saying. Because I don't think smart here, where you are employed here, you really want to argue with the people who have given you a job here.
We're very principled people. They are watching
I'm
tonight.
saying, that's what I'm saying. I'm saying,
I hear you.
if there are company
Yes.
policies here,
Yes.
and they say this is a way, you must report here at 8 a.m., and if you don't report, you have no job, you come at 8 a.m. It's the same thing. These voters are the employers. When they say move in this direction, if you don't move, we will not give you a job. If you need the job, you must listen to them. And at the end of it all, this is democracy. If you want the majority vote, you must be in tune with the thinking of that majority. You know? And if you are not in tune with that majority, then you have no business leading those people. Because those are the people who have given you a job.
All right.
So the way I see, and the way I'm hearing, and the people who are talking to me and talking to others, yeah, the shifting is major. Yeah, it's major.
I want to partially disagree with my senior here. You know, one of the major attributes of a leader is to lead. That's why you're a leader. You should not be led by the people. You should lead the people towards the right direction. You shouldn't just fall into a dungeon or a pit of oblivion just because people have said, let us go there. It is your responsibility as a leader to lead your people to the right direction. And therefore, I expected Governor Anne Waiguru to lead the people of Kirinyaga and not to be led by the people of Kirinyaga. And therefore, she disqualifies herself as a leader. She has turned herself into a follower of people. She's no longer a leader. So to me... But
this, you'd agree that there's a question of listening to the ground, and there's something in there that you can't just, you know, go this direction if the people are saying our vision and mission is here.
And that's why I told you the foundation of any leadership are the principles you believe in.
Okay.
That's smart.
Okay.
You can't lead people into a ditch. If they see where you are leading them,
yes,
they say that is a ditch and you are not going to lead us there. Yeah.
So the people have a right to stop.
Yeah, they will tell you you can't lead us there. We will not follow you there. That's what you are saying.
Okay.
You lead, yes, but if you lead people in a direction they are not comfortable, yeah, they will tell you where you are leading us to, we don't want. Waiguru was leading the people of Kirinyaga to a ditch. And they said, we don't want to go to a ditch.
In that case, you lose the mandate of the people because they elected you.
Yes.
They elected you to provide leadership. So if they are the ones leading you, basically you ought to resign.
All right.
You are no longer their leader.
Okay, gentlemen, I want to take a short break.
Yeah.
The conversation is heating up. When we come back, we want to talk about the question of leadership and the paltry, or the voter turnout that Right, welcome back. Watching With All Due Respect, politics on the ground and politics of the ground. Should leaders be leading or should they be led? Do they have principles or the people decide? Those are the questions we're dealing with tonight. And just before we took the break, a straight question for you from everyone on Twitter is like, what informed your principle with your dalliance in ODM?
I have not been in ODM.
But your dalliance, you had...
No, I was in NASA. Remember, in 2017, we came in as a coalition and not as a party. And therefore, I was in NASA coalition. I was not a member of ODM. Mm-hmm. I was a member of ANC. And therefore, I was still sticking to the principles as enshrined in the NASA coalition. Until NASA was dissolved, that's when I went back to ANC. But I was never a member of ODM.
So you're very principled, Malala, you're trying to say?
Very principled.
Caleb.
I'm shocked by these revelations. Because just the other day I was with him in Kibra elections, and he's actually supported an ODM candidate, strongly for that matter. And I was also with him in Kakamega Stadium when he was the for BBI.
So BBI was
and
ODM?
He actually, almost chased away his party leader from addressing people. So I'm shocked that the turn of events that he has not been. He has actually been associated. His blood, if you cut it, is ODM. It's only that he is now looking for survival tactics, as it were. But I think leaders need to work on their own principles. That's now where the crowd, even the leaders you follow, be it Ruto, be it Mudavadi, Raila, they have built their base. They are called the bastion of democracy in some corners because they have been there consistently, have a track record. But if you fall into any waves that comes in, then you're basically going to lose out in the long term. Yeah. So, this is what is going to befall Anwar Guru, and many more are going to fall in this trap. And I don't think these Tanga people, they're excited too early. Too early. When you walk in a homestead and you see a small dog barking so loudly, it's suffering from inferiority complex. It is the spread of panic, not that it can, harm you in any way. So that's what has been going on. These people have been backing, but it's not because they have any ground whatsoever. It's because they are spreading panic from their own inferiority complex. And this thing is going to swallow so many politicians. There is a perceived, wrongly so, perceived, there's a perception that this side is, gaining popularity on the ground. And people may fall into this trap. We are 8 months to the election. 1 day in an election is a long period of time. And things are going to change. The real game will start next year. And some of these people will tell you the ground is hostile. It will turn the other way around. The ground will also be turning hostile. They ask their Moses Kuria, it's not quiet. Why? So many of their so-called bigwigs are no longer speaking. But they have read the moves in advance.
Let's get back.
But Smart, there's a thin line between being principled and also being politically redundant. In his case, Honorable Caleb Amisi, I think we also must be adopting to the emerging trends in politics. If, for example, you are a member of ODM, and you believed so much in the principles of ODM in 2013. The ODM of 2013 is no longer the ODM of 2022. And therefore, if the party has changed, has shifted its principles, you should also adopt with the emerging trends. So, like, for example, I was at alliance with members of the ODM party because I believe, yes,
you accept?
Yes, I was with them in the same coalition, and I believed, because even as a member of county assembly, I was elected on an ODM ticket, and therefore it's not something new that I was in association with them. But you see, I believed so much in that coalition and ODM to be specific.
So what changed specifically?
Their principles shifted. You remember, ODM were more of liberators. They were fighting for the people. Before 2017, they were advocating for people's rights. They were advocating for people who are oppressed in the society. But once they got into the handshake, they relaxed and started dining with the same oppressors. And that's why I said, if a party shifts in principle, you as a leader should adopt with the emerging trends. Caleb Amisi, don't be like the proverbial tick, which sticks on a cow. Even after the cow is slaughtered, the tick is still there trying to convince itself.
Of course, because he has mentioned me. But if he was dalliance with ODM and our principles have shifted, then whatever ODM stood for, we should see him practicing. I mean, all the things that we used to do, the demonstrations and the fight for democracy,
as we talk
should
about
actually see him, perpetrating it.
But that's exactly what we are doing.
Hang on, gentlemen. Let's bring it together into this, because we also shifted parties, Jubilee, and now to UDA. What shifted for you? Is it the same thing?
Yes, of course.
What exactly shifted?
It's change of goalposts, it's change of manifesto. You see, when we went to the voters in 2017, we told our people from the mountain and the Jubilee strongholds that we shall implement the 4 big agenda: universal health care, food security, manufacturing and housing. Nowhere did we ever tell them that we are going to change the constitution. It was not part of what we discussed with our people. Okay? When we went for elections, we were competing with Raila Odinga. Nowhere did we tell our people that after we beat him, we are going to look for him to become part of government. Nowhere did we tell our people that we shall abandon the things that we hold dear and start moving around the country looking for views to change the constitution. And then our party became dictatorial. You know, we don't hold party meetings. There's no party organ that meets. And even when meetings are called, is dressing down, you know. It's a dictatorship at its worst. And dressing down and talking people down, bordering on almost on insults. And we reached a point we say, no, you know, we are not children. We are elected leaders and we are not going to take it. And that is why you find Jubilee is in trouble in our region, because according to the people who are in Jubilee, it lost focus. We were talking of bringing the handshake for a united country, but we found it is dividing it because we were shunted out. People who never voted for this government came in and kicked out the ones who voted for the government.
But is the question, Rigathi, the first 5 years, why didn't Jubilee do the things that it said on to the 5 years?
No,
the universal healthcare, you had 5 years in 2017.
The big 4 was for the second term.
Yeah, but
okay.
What happened the first 5 years?
Quite a bit, I must say. We didn't do everything we had promised to do in 2013, but quite a bit was done. Electricity connection to almost 6 million people, you know.
We also accumulated the debt in 2017.
That's okay. 8,000 kilometers of roads up to bitumen standards, you know. Free secondary education. Quite a bit was done. I can't say everything was done, but during the second term, when we were to do the rest and try to complete what we had promised, we changed focus. We changed the goalpost, and we started following different things. And that is why we found that the ideals which we believed in Jubilee are no longer in place. And we had to look for a new home. You know, leaders and people are like birds. They must look for a tree to perch. They can't just stay in the air. You know, if you cut the tree they were perching, yes, they must look for another tree somewhere to perch. You know, they can't just stay in the air without perching. And that is why we are saying, you listen to the people. And let me tell you, my friend, today, I lead people, but I listen to them. If today they told me, they call me and tell, we don't like what you are doing, leave this route and move to this route, I'll just move.
Good. Amisi, ODM changed focus of Jubilee between 2017 to now.
Yeah.
Is that true? What happened?
No, I think first of all, we must also be so honest as leaders and face Kenyans, tell them the truth. I listen to our colleagues from the other side, and sometimes it's all lies that comes from them. If you look at the history, and he has been here long enough than some of us, and if I take you back to history, handshake is not a unique phenomenon now. It's something that has occurred. In Moi's time, the handshake of Moi and Raila brought the multipartism. Kibaki, the handshake of Raila and Kibaki brought the peace. The handshake of Ruto and Uhuru, brought the peace, the perennial animosity between the Kikuyus and the Kalenjin. And now the handshake of Raila and Uhuru is now the peace we are enjoying. So this is phenomenon that have occurred in our political, history. And
Has it interfered with governance?
It's not interfered. In fact, most of the progress we've made as a nation, the new constitution, promulgation, what is the genesis of promulgation of the new constitution? It was because of leaders coming together. The multipartism, it is because of the opposition and the KANU, working together. It's not something new. Now we are being faced with a new moment, and our colleagues here, they are looking at it as quite different from what has been happening. It was just an opportunity to set up a new direction for the nation. And if you listen to them, they're always, complaining about the handshake while it has destroyed their career. It was never about constitution. Neither were the previous handshake about constitution. It was a compromise where everybody, thinks that this is what has been ailing our nation, and this is how we need to to treat going forward. So this is dishonest of the highest order, and I think we must call them out so that they don't be given this platform to continue lying to Kenyans that handshake destroyed them. Handshake was the best thing that has happened.
Okay. So what is the problem with handshake?
For purposes of peace, cohesion, and integration, I think handshake is an idea that we all support, because as leaders, we also want a peaceful environment for our businesses to thrive. But again, it came with ramifications. The first consequence that we are suffering out of the handshake is that it interfered basically with the running of government, in the sense that, one, we have no opposition in this country. We have no voice that is defending the people who are being oppressed by this country.
But NC is not in the handshake, isn't it?
We are not in the handshake. That's why.
So you can't be the opposition.
Exactly. We can't assume the position of opposition. Yet in Parliament, the leaders of opposition, they occupy those spaces. So fundamentally speaking, Parliament has been relegated as a branch of the executive. It no longer performs its duty as an oversight body. This has been occasioned by members of the opposition going to bed with the executive and with the ruling party. In 2018, Finance Bill of 2018, we introduced 8% of our levy to all petroleum products. This was supported by the opposition. Were it not for the handshake, we wouldn't be here. The hike in fuel prices right now has been caused because of the relationship between the opposition and the government. And therefore, I would like to say that the handshake between Raila Amolo Odinga and Uhuru Kenyatta would have been left at that personal relationship between the two of them, but not take Parliament and relegate Parliament as a branch of the executive.
So how do you respond to the argument that the ODM did not take a position in government? So in the end, they're not CSAs, they're not...
They are. When you look at the current appointments, they have participated, they have appointed their people through proxies in government.
But your people as well?
No.
Who's the cast for finance, for instance?
Treasury.
Your treasury.
No, you know, he's a Kenyan, huh?
Yes.
He's a Kenyan. We have seen ODM taking part in governance seriously. When you see...
Explain, how so?
When you see the leader of opposition going to launch government projects, it is ridiculous. Come on. He is supposed to front an oversight campaign against government. But when you see the watchman and the boss walking in the same vehicle and wanting to believe...
Okay, so help me understand this. Just one second before I come back to you. But he's only one person with one party, right, ODM. There is, NASA was, I think, equal, like I say, equal principles, right?
Yeah.
Musalia Mudavadi, Kalonzo Musyoka. Why haven't they risen to the occasion, with all due respect, then to fill the gap and the hole that is left?
Look at the provisions of our constitution. They're very clear. Who becomes the majority party in parliament and who becomes the minority party in parliament. The minority party is defined in the limits of our constitution as the second largest party.
Which is ODM.
Which is ODM. And therefore, we cannot take up their role when they are still sticking to it.
Okay.
Who is the leader of minority in the Senate? James Orengo. Who is the leader of minority in the National Assembly? Mbadi. So how do you expect a member of parliament, say Honorable Nabulindo from Matungu, to come and take up the roles of Mbadi in parliament? And therefore, ODM has critically failed us when it comes to oversight. We have the dynamics of numbers in the House. They enjoy numbers together with Jubilee. So once they have numbers in Parliament, and Parliament is a house of numbers, once they have the majority of numbers, we cannot do anything. We cannot oppose because as much as
I need to go for a break.
Let me just execute my point.
Yes.
As much
10 seconds, I need to go for a break.
As much as we can push for a certain agenda. Remember, during the revenue sharing allocation debate, the 1 man, 1 shilling, one, we tried to push logic. But the guys were in bed with the executive. Logic had not prevailed all through, and they were unable to defend the people. The people who voted for them.
Quick question.
I think
10 seconds.
Before you go for a break, you've given him enough time. It is perplexing to hear my good friend Malala saying that the Constitution has bars them from, playing the role of opposition. I mean, if you don't disagree with any establishment, you don't need a constitutional mandate. You just disagree. We have had leaders in this country who have disagreed with the government. They have actually even resigned from the same government and joined opposition without any constitutional mandate. You are telling us that because ODM is occupying seats, then we cannot oppose. So what do you stand for?
But
you are talking about...
I've given an example of...
but I think he has been... So you are talking about, believing in what ODM used to believe in, and that's where you left it. Then why are you not, propagating the ideals, the good ideals that you bought from ODM, so that you join and be the opposition that Kenya wants? Because opposing means what? Not throwing stones. Opposing means there is something you disagree ideologically. It's not about fighting. And the parliament itself is an oversight. When you say that there is no opposition, what is an opposition in any establishment? Parliament itself is supposed to be an oversight. It's supposed to oversight the executive. Whether you are from Jubilee, from ANC, you are a member of parliament. Play your role.
That's why
there is no role that is put that ODM must be opposition. There is nowhere.
All right, gentlemen.
Yeah.
Take a short break. When I come back, these questions, I'm seeing them on 6,000 that Rael has promised and the 1 million that the Deputy President. And welcome back. You're watching With All Due Respect. So, with this open season of politics also comes the promises, bags of promises from the campaign trail. Let's start with the million, the latest one, the 1 million shilling that the Deputy President offered to sex workers in Mtito and Dei. What's with that, Rigathi?
The Deputy President of the Republic of Kenya, Dr. William Ruto, is a chief hustler. And he does a lot of empowerment. He helps many people, mama mboga, market traders, border riders, hawkers, people who own kiosks. And as he moves around the country, he gives people an opportunity to talk to him, the ordinary people. And a lot of people have a lot of problem with that. There are people who call them takataka. And in his tours, people lift their hands and say, Mr. Deputy President, I have something to say. So when he went to Kabani yesterday, one lady called Mama Caro put up her hand and said, Mr. Deputy President, I have something to say. And people could not see her clearly. She was told to climb on top of the vehicle. And she said, Mr. Deputy President, I'm Mama Caro, and these people you see here, we have been practicing a very humiliating business as a people. And we do it because we have no other means of livelihood, you know, and the way we eke out our living is by offering ourselves to men. We are getting old and we are tired and we would like to get out of this trade, okay? And we would like you to hold our hand and empower us to do something more dignified. I am amazed by the courage of Mama Caro. You know, a lady, a mother standing up to own up to that kind of trade is such courage, but I'm sure it is driven by the level of helplessness coming from her that she could stand up to the public. The Deputy President is a leader. The work of leaders is to offer solutions. And if people cry out to you, even in the Bible, say that if your child asks for bread, you cannot give a stone or a snake for that matter. And the Deputy President was very moved and he said, okay, I have heard you. I empathize with your situation. It shouldn't be that, you know, you would have to engage in a business that is so demeaning, that is so humiliating. I would like you people to organize yourselves into a circle and pursue a business that is dignified. And if you do, I'm willing to fund your group with $1 million shillings to engage into an enterprise that has dignity.
Okay.
And in my view, I think I was very moved. First, by the courage of Mama Caro. Number two, by the Deputy President saying, fine, here you are, you have owned up to what you have been doing, and you would like to be assisted to do something better.
Okay.
So when I had people criticizing the likes of Junet Mohammed, whom the people of our region have serious problems with him and his boss, I am reminded of the story in the Bible, you know, where people went to Jesus Christ and they took a lady who had committed adultery. And Jesus said, no, why is she coming alone? Let whoever is clean throw the first stone. And there was nobody. We cannot condemn poverty. We cannot condemn those women because of what they do. We cannot condemn them for owning up to what they do.
I don't think that was a problem. I don't think that was a problem.
Yeah.
So here's the thing.
Yeah.
Let's go step by step.
Yeah.
He was owning up to the Deputy President of this republic.
Yes.
That's number one.
Right.
There's no problem with you seeing the Deputy President offering personal help as opposed to a government solution.
Yes.
He's been deputy for 9 years.
Yes.
So this has been government failure for a long time.
Yes.
So because sex workers didn't come yesterday, they didn't happen in the last 5 years.
Yeah.
They've always been there.
Yeah.
You don't think that's a problem?
No, I don't think the sex workers came with the Deputy President.
No,
and
but
Kenyatta in 2013. They have been there since independence.
So
I'm saying, what I'm saying,
Jubilee has not fixed
what I'm
the
saying, you cannot say that the Deputy President, because he has been in government, he shouldn't listen to the problem.
No, he
because
listens to the problem.
No, I'm saying the problem did not come when he became Deputy President.
Absolutely, but it's been for 9 years.
What he has been there, but what is very positive is the ability of a Deputy President of the Republic of Kenya to have time to listen to the lowly, the downtrodden, people who would have no forum to talk to a leader of that magnitude. Have time to listen to them, have empathy, understand them, and offer a solution. You know, the work of leaders is to offer solutions.
But this solution is a handout.
It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter.
Let me go.
If you go today, the senator here, the member of parliament here knows, we have issues in the village of hospital bills. We sort them out, but that does not solve the problem. If people come and they can't pay, and they can't pay a hospital bill,
yes,
yeah, that doesn't mean because if you pay that bill, you'll not be able to pay tomorrow. You shouldn't help them.
Hang on, I'll come back to you. Senator.
I wouldn't want to delve deep into that specific issue, but as a leader, I am very uncomfortable with this politics of tokenism and handouts. We have seen in both factions people making outrageous promises to our young people just because they want to be elected, and yet they have been in power for a very long time. We've seen the Azimio la Umoja faction dangling a carrot of 6,000 shillings for every household. An average household in Kenya Smart has 4 people in that household. So it basically means that every household will be getting 200 shillings per day. Every person will be getting 50 shillings per day. So basically, how would you solve the problems that we are facing as a young generation in Kenya by giving people handouts? The Tanga group has come up with this culture of tokenism, giving an entire market 1 million shillings to share as a seed capital, just because we are nearing election. The Deputy President has been in power since 2013. He has been an assistant minister, he has been a minister, he has served in so many portfolios. Why hasn't he come up with programs that will empower the young people? And therefore, we are believing as leaders, and from where I sit, and from where I sit, I mean my party. My party has got sustainable way of engaging the youth when it takes power. We are selling the Uchumi Bora product. We are saying that once we get power, we want to expand the manufacturing sector. We want to expand and pump in money into the agriculture sector so that we create more jobs, so that we reduce the rural to urban migration.
Well, accept that principle, right?
And therefore, we should be selling ideas which are sustainable.
How do we deal, as you sell this idea, how do you deal with the massive unemployment, with people who are falling on poverty every single day? Well, we say, well, manufacturing is not going to create jobs from day one, okay? And you come from day one, you don't have the money, we are in debt. So how are you going to solve the problem of a safety net for all of us?
Basically, as we speak right now, Kenya, we are in a financial pit. We need to find ourselves out of that pit first and have a stable economy by first restructuring our debts. We need somebody who will come in power and restructure the debt, the public debt of our country.
These are commercial loans.
Exactly, but you can't renegotiate the loans.
So if we can't, these guys should have done that.
Second, you need, first of all, to seal all the leakages. We lose almost 2 billion shillings per day. If we have policies and we have a good judicial system and a good prosecutory system that is going to ensure that we seal all the leakages of public funds hemorrhage, we shall have money to pump and into industrialization. We shall have money to pay our debts. I can assure you, 2 billion shillings in a day can do wonders. And we are, as a Money National Congress, saying that once we get power, we are going to ensure that we strengthen the judiciary, we strengthen the EACC as an institution, we strengthen all the prosecutory organs so that we do not lose money on a daily basis.
Okay.
We are going to come up with economic stimulus projects that is going to stimulate our economy and therefore turning our economy into a job creation economy. And that is what we are selling to Kenyans. We are not selling to Kenyans a one-day hope that, come on, shall give you handouts. Right now, at the moment, Smart, Raila Amolo Odinga is in the handshake government. Why can't he talk to his brother Uhuru Kenyatta to start implementing the 6,000 shilling before election? Okay. Must he wait to be elected?
Good question.
Yeah, listening to these two leaders, I'm highly convinced that our side ODM have no competitors in terms of policies and the manifestos for this country. Clearly, they have even missed the whole idea around the 6,000. For your information, this is an idea that I personally came up with.
Okay, what is it about? Explain.
Because I attempted to amend the Social Assistance Act. This act came into being in 2013 to basically cushion the vulnerable in our societies. This 6,000 was just one aspect of the Raila manifesto. It was not the entire. He has spoken about a number of items. This was just about a safety net, which was,
so how
it was
did it work?
captured in our 2013 Act.
Okay.
Now, this, in fact, my proposal was 3,000 years. Actually, make it 6. It happens everywhere.
But with the economies that have money.
Forget about the economies. This is a safety net for vulnerables.
It is true, but
yes,
where's the money coming from?
The money is there. If you have money for pesa kwa wazee, who are basically, they are not active in economic building, then why don't you miss to have money for youth? So then basically, our president has told us we lose money through corruption, 2 billion a day. If you seal all these corruption loopholes, we have a lot of money that get lost through corruption. The president, from where he sits, I can't doubt him when he said that we lose as a nation 2 billion. He has all the network to know that we lose. Just relax, so that I give you the whole concept about the 6,000. Vulnerables is not you and me. Vulnerables can be identified. We have our local administrations which can identify. How do we identify beneficiaries of Pesa Kawaze? How do we identify beneficiaries of Wealth Fund? The reason why they have not worked effectively is because we've never had a nationalized body that can handle this effectively. It has happened in every, it doesn't has to do with your economic status. However poor you are, but at least you can take care of the very vulnerable of the poorest. This is not a development agenda. This is basically a safety net agenda. There are other agenda that the Prime Minister has talked about. This was just one aspect of it.
So gentlemen, I need to another show, but the problem that we have with everything that I've had tonight is everyone assumes that when we get into government, whoever party wins, that we start from a clean slate. And that's a lie. That's a dangerous lie, because we're in 7.7 trillion debt as we speak. We have to deal with that. We can't walk in and say, we're going to negotiate the loans. Again, that's a pie in the sky. We can't walk in and promise people 6,000 when we know we're losing all this money. We don't have the money. We can't walk in and give handouts. That's the problem that we have. Final thoughts as we wind down this program. Let me start with you, Rigathi.
I want to say that this Azimio la Umoja thing is a fake thing. And you cannot talk about Azimio la Umoja when you are dividing people. Junet Mohammed, who arguably speaks for the former Prime Minister, stood in Nyamira in broad daylight in front of everybody and told the people of Nyanza. In fact, he addressed Mutahi Kagwe from the Mount Kenya region and told him, you Mutahi Kagwe, listen here. If Raila Odinga is elected as president, this is a government for the people of Nyanza. You, Mutahi Kagwe, and your people will be visitors to this government. The people of the mountain have heard Junet clearly, and we are very happy because I think Junet is an honest man. These are things that they discuss in secrecy. And now that he has decided to tell us exactly what they are planning, we have taken note, and this Azimio la Umoja is a fraud. And when he was explaining, he even added insult to injury yesterday. He said, no, we give promises to every region we go. You know, when we go to Mount Kenya, we tell them, this is your government. When we go to Nyanza, we tell them, this is your government. When we go to, now, this is fraud. And we are saying, if you are lying to us, even before you are elected, how do we believe your promises? This 6,000 is smart. We have 2,000 for the elderly. He can tell you, this money is never available. It's not enough for the elderly. And these are people who should get because they cannot work. Anybody who is able-bodied, what we want in our camp is guaranteed minimum return, where we set up a fund to top up on the cash crop so that people can get value for money and they are not making losses. and then they can invest that money and move on. We want a biashara fund to help the small businesses grow instead of sending our people to Felisa that is charging 400% interest yearly.
But we've tried the fund thing. It didn't
Yeah,
work.
no,
Where's
I'm
the
saying,
fund and
I'm
the
saying,
youth funds?
I'm saying,
We have those examples.
I am saying, and these little empowerment programs the Deputy President is doing from his pocket, they are models. He went to Kiserian Market and gave 1 million shillings to people there. And they have been using that money every morning to loan to small traders 3,000. They buy merchandise from the lorry. They sell in the evening, they return the money, and it's working. Okay. It is actually a pilot he is doing from his personal resources in preparation for government. But this,
so we should see everything he does as a policy.
He has policies, and he is trying them and testing them at a personal level, and they are working. So that when he is in government, he is able to do it. But this Azimio la Umoja is divisive.
I'd like to see
fraud.
The numbers. No, hang on. I'd like to see the numbers. Would you send me the numbers? Would you commit to send me the numbers for what Kiserian Market, for instance? And
yes, I will. I will. Like now, there is something I am working on for Kratina Market. We have 2,200 people. We have discussed with the traders. We want to raise 5 million. That will be in the market. Okay. Every morning, the traders will be able to borrow little money depending on what you are doing. They buy from the wholesalers, they retail, they keep the profit and give the money back in the evening. And it is working in Kiserian. I send my team there from Kratina. They were very happy it is working.
Send me the data.
And we are going to do that in Kratina Market.
Send me the data. Then
and these things, we are doing them as a model, so that once this system is well refined,
you transfer it as policy.
When we do form government, we make it a policy.
Okay, thank you.
I never agree with my friend, but on this particular issue of Azimio la Umoja, I want to agree with him that this Azimio la Umoja is a political paradox. When you look at their political demeanor, they want to convince you that they want to unite this country. But when you look at their history, they have a history of dividing the country. These people divided, and they even dismantled the opposition called NASA because of mistrust. They went into government and divided Jubilee. Now they are saying they want to bring in all Kenyans in one vehicle so that they can have that Azimio la Umoja achieved. Let me tell you one thing.
That's your final thought?
Yes. We have two extremes in this political scenario. We have the Azimio la Umoja on one side and the Tanga on the other side. I want to assure you today here that if the Azimio la Umoja forms government today, the Tanga guys will protest and the country will be divided into two. If Tanga wins and Azimio la Umoja loses election, the country will be divided into two. And therefore, this calls for a sober and a compromised leader who will bring this country together. And that is Musalia Mudavadi.
I wouldn't have guessed that, by the way.
Yes, that is Musalia, because that's the only person who has no problem with people. And let me tell you one thing. Everybody is talking about economic recovery. As in my valedictory remarks, everybody is talking about economic recovery. I want to tell you here today that we can never achieve that without having a conducive environment to do business. Let me tell you one thing. If today Tanga wins election, we shall have 2 years of demonstration. These people will be rioting all over and burning tires in the streets for 2 years. We shall not have any conducive environment for thriving business. So the only solution for Kenyans, and I want to speak to Kenyans today, that is Musalia Mudavadi, a unifying factor for this country and a solution for the economy recovery of this country.
I'm sure he's very happy with you tonight. Let's final thoughts. 30 seconds, please.
I wish you told us this is a campaign platform. I could have also prepared myself, but nevertheless,
try your best.
I'm not going to campaign. We are talking about serious economic matter. You know what they say? Somebody once said the politics is the art of looking for trouble, looking for it everywhere, diagnosing it incorrectly, and applying the wrong remedy. That's what they are doing.
Yes.
We are talking about economy. They have jumped into political rhetoric. We were on an economic trajectory of this country. Where are we? We've been talking about dividing the cake. And we are now even talking about diminishing cake that we need to borrow from outside. We feel it. We've never talked as a nation how to bake the cake. That's our problem.
Okay.
We need we actually need to have an economic council separate from politics for this nation. All nations that have developed, even the European nations, Americans, they have gone through what we call renaissance, rebirth, renewal. You have to go through an economic renewal. And this nation, it is actually ripe for that. You need to have, what is our potential as a nation? We don't have the natural resources, we don't have the gas, we don't have the petroleum. If we have, maybe we do not know how to come up with it. We can't compete with the Arabs, we can't compete with the Americans with the technology. So what do we have as a nation? That's why we should be talking. Our potential lies with our position in the global arena. We need to position ourselves so that we can attract the global flow of income. That's where now we'll have a bigger cake.
Thank you.
To talk about.
Thank you very much.
You must
Thank you very much.
I want to tell Senator Malala, Musalia Mudavadi cannot be president when he's at home. Ask him to go out and look for votes and talk to people.
You advise Sweden.
I'm saying you can't just operate from here and think he can be president. He must go out there and talk to people.
That's why
I'll do this. All right, Caleb Amisi, MP Saboti, Senator Malala, Kakamega Senator, and of course Rigathi Gachagua, Madira MP. And to play us out tonight is the talented Madai, the man, Njama, singer-songwriter and guitarist based off Nairobi. Here he does for us one of his favorite single. Please enjoy. My name is James Smart. We do this all over again next week, next time on this station. Have a lovely night.
Thank you.
I've been blind to myself, never knowing, keep on rolling, no, it makes no sense. Misunderstanding my emotions, questioning my mental state. No, the doubt was a marksman, instead it was his hand in the plans to make a martyr of the man. Silent but not forgotten, broken but in repair. La 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 la, la 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 la, la 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 la, la 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 la, la 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 la. The road was not without its faults. All was twisted, but still I drifted across the silence, holding on to what was broken when it would be the same. No, 'cause worry was waiting, it cast a shadow on the wall beneath my fears, and made the plans to make a martyr of the man. Silent but not forgotten, broken but in repair. La 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 la, la 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 la, la 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 la, la 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 la, la 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 la, la 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 la, la la. La 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 la. blind to myself, never knowing, makes no sense, misunderstanding my emotions, questioning my mental state. No, the doubt was a marksman, instead he was his head. In the plans to make harder of the man, silent but not forgotten, broken but in repair. La 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 la, la 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 la, la 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 la, la 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 la.